Today I'd like to talk to you about ITC's quality and quality system, because it's one of the first things that people ask about when they learn that we make product in China. What's the level of quality that you can maintain, and how will I know that the parts that you're going to provide me are good and consistent? So the first way I want to address that is that quality is not about a region or about a culture, but instead it's about establishing standards, understanding those standards, and then creating a process of accountability to those standards. So in order to achieve those three components, we've developed a two-part quality system. And to keep it simple, it's a pre-production and a post-production process. So we're going to start off with the pre side of it. The pre-production phase can be broken out into three sections: audit, understanding, and expectation. The audit section is used to evaluate new vendors. The majority of ITC products are produced within our own facility with one of our two vendor alliance partners or specialty vendors with whom we have decades of experience. However, there are some components or processes in which we may work with a new outside vendor. This process is designed to evaluate each vendor in detail so we can determine if their practices and standards are consistent with ITC's quality standards. The audit consists of three portions: a review by ITC Asia, followed by a review from ITC US, and then finally a factory visit. During the first portion of this review, ITC Asia will utilize an audit checklist and review the vendor in detail. This audit checklist focuses on all parts of the production and documentation process. Some of the items reviewed during this stage include: does the vendor have ISO certifications? What kind of equipment and capabilities do they have? What kind of work instructions do they have? How do they process incoming inspections, and what sort of instructions are used? Following the review by ITC Asia, the ITC US team will also review the audit to determine if there are any concerns or further questions that need to be addressed. Upon reaching satisfaction with the first two steps, a factory visit by a U.S. department head will be scheduled to verify the standards and capabilities that are in place at the new vendor. Once the vendor has been approved, we move on to building a relationship with the vendor. We will work with the vendor to relay specific production and quality standards and ensure that the vendor understands these standards. We start this phase by first reviewing ITC's controlled documents with the vendor. These controlled documents address quality standards, test procedures, and audit instructions. Discussing these standards and expectations up front allows both ITC and the vendor the opportunity to address any areas of concern and to better understand the product and the end goal. By doing these upfront reviews, we gain commitment from the vendor and their team, which leads to a better working relationship and a higher quality product. Once we have reviewed the controlled documents, then we proceed with setting the finished standards for the product. Since each product and application are different, the criteria are set based on the requirements desired for that particular product. For example, we are very specific about the finish of the frosted lens on our radiance lights because it will be used in an interior decorative application. We then move on to setting the quality and testing standards. These standards may include voltage testing, burn-in testing, and verification of the desired color temperature. Again, these standards are set for each individual product and are meant to test and verify the product to the application for which it is designed. The understanding phase is critical in providing mutually agreed upon standards that ensure that there is no question between ITC or the vendor about what is considered an acceptable part. After the standards have been set and the drawings have been completed, we will move on to the expectation phase on the specific product. The first step in this phase is to review the drawings and highlight any potential tolerance or critical dimension issues. If there are any potential concerns, we will work with the vendor to address these and determine what can be done in the production process to minimize the risk. Once we have reviewed the drawings and addressed any concerns, We will meet with the vendor and write a set of work instructions that detail the handling and assembly of the product at every phase in the process. We then review the vendor's quality plan and finalize how parts will be checked post-production. As part of this quality plan, we develop audit instructions that address certain aspects of the part, especially cosmetic issues, which are more easily conveyed in pictures than with a drawing.